is watching. The Illuminati are planning to take over the world. The space aliens have arrived. Grab your hats. This is tinfoil hat time.
Welcome back to another edition of Tinfoil Hat Time. We have our coffee, we have our computer, and we have a fun show today. Now, for those of you guys that are jumping on here and saying, what does this have to do with switching to Linux? Well, if you are unaware, this channel actually started because of privacy and some of the privacy concerns with Windows 10. And I looked at all of the different things in the privacy world and talked about that. That's why we talk about privacy a lot on the news and a few other places. Although I can say that for the last year or so, we have done a lot more of just regular Linux stuff because I was building the van and getting ready for all the traveling. This is, in fact, is not even the second tinfoil hat episode I planned to do this year. I do have another one researching in the hopper right now. But this one is one that I have made the observation for as I have been traveling the country over the last few months. And what we would like to say here and comment on here is just kind of looking around at the landscape of what's going on in the world. What I see is, and we've talked about this before, with the Kofi pandemic, what has happened is a whole lot of places are starting to go cashless. And in reality, we're starting to see some of this stuff as well in our country, although it's not as popular because the people that are pushing this stuff can't necessarily push it as much because of various social pressures. We have to keep fighting back, but sometimes we have to take other measures for our privacy. So before we dive into it, we're going to start by looking at an article from over a year ago, July 3rd, 2020. The Koof may be the last nail in Cash's coffin from eToro. And what this article is going into is talking about how because of the pandemic, a lot of people have been going out and saying we got to go cashless. Why? Well, because they're pushing this false narrative that the Kofi can spread on money. Well, this has been completely and thoroughly debunked, but we have to understand that the koofiness is also part of a big global agenda. It has nothing to do with health. It has to do with population control. And because of this, what is happening is it is being used as a means to push some of the narratives, and one of those is cashless payments. Why cashless payments? Because cashless payments are very easy to track, and cash payments are very hard to track. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to have a look at what they're saying here. They talk about in this one here as as digital as today's world may be, there may be still people who use cash regularly. Specific demographics, such as elderly, are less likely to join the cashless society, and many of them maintain the use of cash as their primary payment method. However, all that changed during the koofiness and subsequent economic crisis. In Canada, for example, seniors over 65 started using non-cash payments over twice as much. Billions of people around the world were in isolation as stores and restaurants closed down or switched to delivery only, and adjustment to the payment ecosystem was needed. Moreover, physical currency that was transferred from hand to hand was also perceived as spreading germs. The WHO eventually recommended minimizing the use of paper money. Now again, there has been several scientific articles that have indicated and said, no, there's actually no problem with spreading things based on the cash that is there. Then they start looking at the proliferation of mobile payments. Of course, we have Google and Apple and Samsung and PayPal and a lot of other things. We have the NFC, which you should completely disable. And if you have any of those credit or debit cards that have the wireless contact stuff, make sure that those are Faraday protected. I'm actually using a Ridge wallet these days because it does have Faraday protection against those things. So you try and swipe close to me because unfortunately some of my debit cards are going with those stupid contactless payments, and I've told the bank I don't want this. Like, well, we don't have an option. oh well, I guess I can either close that bank account or not, and looking at it, say, well, I can protect the card, and actually I don't even carry that card with me anymore. So, sorry bank, you're not getting the kickbacks for my uses. Just don't do it. None of the cards I have that have contactless payment are actually carried with me on a regular basis. They talk a little bit about the future money of things. Now, over in The Guardian, this one is a little bit more recent. I can't find the date on this, but this one is June 2021. So just earlier this year, cashless society draws closer with only 1 in 6 payments in cash. Now you have to understand, Guardian is a UK. This is not necessarily United States, but this is a UK finance study records 35% drop in cash payments in 2020 as the Kufi crisis turbocharges and changes spending habits. So, with that, this just kind of goes into, everything closed down. A lot of businesses were forced to do this, but we also have to understand the demographics are different in UK than they are in the United States, where the United States, well, at least until more recently, was a much more free place. We still do have a lot of freedoms, particularly, compared to like Australia and Austria and Canada, for that case. But there's a lot of pushback coming against a lot of these things as well. And involved in all of this kickback here is when we start seeing that all these businesses are starting to go with cashless. Now you have the option: do you want to do business with this organization, or do you want to move on to something else? And this is a decision that we have to come up with on our own to figure out. Again, the problem is that in addition to the fact that we generally spend more money and lose track of how much money we have when we're going cashless, those are concerns, but the other concern is cashless payments in general are very easy to trace. So you can track people around wherever they're going and whatever they're doing. That is certainly a concern. So of course this is happening in UK, but what about in United States? This brings us to what I wanted to talk about. As I'm traveling around the country, one of the interesting trends that just literally happened and not long ago, many of the national parks are also going cashless. Now, there's a difference between a business. If a business decides they go cashless, they are invariably going to lose a lot of business. There's a lot of people that say, I'm not charging your meal on a card, I have cash here. And this does raise a privacy concern. The other day I was out, I had a really busy day, I had a short time lunch, like, okay, let's go in and stop into this Wendy's. Well, the Wendy's is cashless. I'm like, oh really? Okay, well, it's either that or nothing else. All right, fine, let's slip a card in there. Okay, Thomas, your order will be ready. I wanted to punch the machine, to be perfectly honest with you, okay? Because I did not consent to giving Wendy's my name. I just wanted a stupid cheeseburger, okay? But the problem is that the cashless payments, not only can they track what you're doing, but it also gives the store a lot of data. Are they going to use any of that extra data for anything under the sun? They may not. I don't know. If I start getting coupons for Wendy's, sorry Wendy's, never shopping at you again. And so with that, though, as I'm traveling around many of these national parks and monuments, now, when I first started, maybe a little over a month or so ago, I did encounter a few places that, I could go in, like, oh, here's my little $5 for your refrigerator magnet or whatever, But then I started getting to the point where every single one of them was going cashless. It's a $4 thing. Here's $4. Well, we can't take cash. Oh, it's dirty. I said, why? Well, it's because of the pandemic. So that because of the pandemic, despite every ounce of science suggests that no, money does not transmit koofiness, they can't take it. Why? Because they are under the mandate of the federal government. The federal government is a bad dictator for the things that are coming on. This is why we have to take a stand against this and not participate. So I only actually found one park which is openly advertising this on the website. But as I've visited them, several of the parks I've visited recently, they are not taking any form of cash payments. It is credit card only. The one that I found was Vicksburg National Military Park. Entrance fees are going digital and cashless. This is dated September 22nd, 2021. Vicksburg, MS. So the Vicksburg National Military Park will begin selling digital entrance passes through recreation.gov in the first phase of the park's new cashless fee system rollout. With recreation.gov, visitors will be able to purchase park pass or annual passes online before their visit. Now, that's talking about the entrance fees, which is true, but we're talking about going to the bookstores as well, picking up a hat, picking up a magnet, picking up anything else from the gift store. You have to use credit. Cashless operation will refocus accountability, address safety concerns, and streamline the fee collection process for visitors and staff. By the way, as I pay in cash in grocery stores, I actually can get through the line a whole lot faster than the people fiddling around with those stupid machines for credit card payments. Okay, but anyway, they say helping track and target inconsistencies in fee collection more quickly than traditional systems. I bet that they can track and have more data points. Visitors can purchase the passes at recreation.gov or through recreation.gov app. This platform employs an online system used by the National Park Service and other federal agencies, allowing visitors to purchase entrance passes and to make camping reservations online. Visitors purchasing from recreation.gov will have a digital pass they can store on a mobile device or print out. Digital purchases are connected to the user's license plate number. Staff will scan for either a printout in the windshield or a license plate number associated with the current digital pass in recreation.gov. So that's how they are enforcing it. And so these are the types of things we start seeing coming out. Of course, in the United States, how this starts to look, it starts to look at other organizations starting to go cashless as well. So Cedar Point is the latest. Cedar Point is going cashless in 2022. Now, to their credit, you can go in and you can convert your cash to an on-site card. Disney does this as well, and a lot of other places. Cedar Point's not even the first. They're doing this because several other parks are doing similar trends. So you can't go into the park and buy a pizza with cash. You will have to use a card. Now you can use a credit card, you can use a debit card, you can use Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, or you can use it's basically a prepaid card. You can go in, they say they have 5 kiosks at the park, and you can convert your cash into your payment card. You can transport your card around. Now this will track you as you go around the park a lot easier. But if you're doing that, then there'll be a minimal amount of data that you have, although they may probably have cameras watching these cash machines, obviously, so they can do some form of facial scanning to track you down. So these are the things that are coming. So what do we do? I do like providing solutions for tinfoil hat time. It's not all just about, the world's going to end or whatever. So here's your biggest solution, and what I'm going to do as soon as I realize that this is going to be a bigger problem, especially with the fact that I have an issue where, because of my current plans, has me looking around at many of the national parks. What I'm going to do is next time I swing by a store, which will be this week, is I'm going to drop a lot of money on a prepaid card from Walmart. This is going to enable me to go into any park, use the credit card, which is effectively a cash system, and I'm using the kind that is not tied to your social security number. It's going to be just a card that you drop some cash in, you pay a $5 fee, and now I can go to each of these national parks, pick up my, whatever refrigerator magnet, whatever else, slide the guy in there, and probably just round up. I've been doing that anyway, round up to the nearest dollar, give the change to the park, and then go in there and be able to just go ahead and be able to use the cashless system, but in such a way that is not tied to me directly. And as our whole world starts going cashless, this might be the direction we want to go. Now, of course, one of the challenges is most of the ones that you can easily refill the cards, these types of things are going onto platforms that are still tied to your social security number, which means, yes, indeed, privacy is becoming a luxury. You're going to have to drop about $5 every time you fill up a card. And if you throw too much money on one individual card and you lose it, well, that's kind of a problem. So, it's going to cost a little bit of money, but I think 5%, 10% is probably a decent amount to keep your privacy and security. That way I can go into Wendy's, use the prepaid card, and they don't be like, hey, Thomas, thanks for your order. Your cheeseburger will be up soon. They'll be like, oh, who the hell are you, but your cheeseburger ready? And that's exactly what I want them to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tinfoil hat time. The cashless society is coming. I guess the other things we could do is try and get active at the local levels and then trickle up into the federal ideas, or just vote the morons out who insist on going on a cashless society. This is part of a bigger plan, and we have to be ready for that bigger plan. Otherwise, we will fall right on into it. So that being said, guys, cheers. Don't forget your hat. This world is going crazy. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.